Hey, welcome back to Giving Chances Farms. I'm Brittany, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own pizza crust. So the ingredients that you will need flour, some olive oil, some salt, dry yeast, and then for our family, I add in the mix of the flour for the crust. I put garlic powder in, Parmesan, and then Italian seasoning. So for this recipe, you will need 3 cups of flour. So let me get this out. I'll go ahead and get those in there. And usually, I didn't this time, I have no idea why, but I tried and start my yeast, so I'll get that started. I already got the 1 cup of warm water that you will need, and then this calls for 1.5 teaspoons of the active dry yeast. And then once you buy this from the store and you open it, it tells you need to store this in the refrigerator, so that's where we always put ours. And I'm using 1/2 teaspoon right now, so I'll put 3 of these. And then I always add just a little bit of sugar, so probably equivalent to maybe like a tablespoon. That helps get your yeast a little bit active and starts to do what it needs to do to be ready for your dough. So then we'll set this aside and let that work its magic, and then I'll go back to doing the crust. So I have 3 cups of flour, and then you will take, oh, I didn't get my tablespoon out. I get my tablespoon out. You need 2 tablespoons of your olive oil. So I go ahead and put that in the flour mix. And then it calls for 2 teaspoons of salt. So I'll get my 1/2 teaspoon, and I don't put that much salt in mine, so I'll just do equivalent to like 1 teaspoon. That in there, and then put that back. And then I don't really have an exact measurement of what I use of the 3. I just start sprinkling it in till I think that's equivalent to my tasting. And then the garlic powder. So once again, it's the Parmesan grated cheese, Italian seasoning, and garlic powder. And then I usually take my dough hook and stick it on your mixer. If you don't have a mixer, you could always do this all by hand. And then I just go ahead and mix that all around. And then while the yeast is still trying to do its thing, you want to set this at least a minute. This is actually telling you to let stand for 10 minutes, but I usually let it sit there for like 5 minutes while that's doing. So I'll bring you back instead of wasting 5 minutes of your time. Alright, I'll show you what the yeast looks like. So it's activated, so when you can tell that your yeast is still good, you can see like it looks kind of foamy on top, so that way you know your yeast is active and still good to be able to be used. So then what you'll do is you'll just dump that in there, and then I'll take this spatula and get the rest of this off. And sometimes with me adding more of the dry ingredients as far as the other seasons, sometimes you have to add just a little bit of water to make up the difference. And then basically you just let that mix in together. And then this recipe I can actually get, I've put it on this size of a pan and done like a rectangular shape, and then this pan is a 14 by, or 14.25 by 0.5 inches. So I 14-inch pizza, and this dough is done well on both of those. It gives it like a more of your hand tossed or pan style dish. And then with this same recipe minus the extras that I stuck in, you can also use it to make your breadsticks as well. I'm not making breadsticks because I think that's plenty. So we'll let this mix up, and then I'll bring you back to what we do after that. Alright, so now the dough is mixed the way it needs to be, and what I usually do is you can either take it from this pan or this bowl I meant, or just leave it in here. But I usually just leave it in here, and then I scrape it off of the dough hook after I've sprayed it, and then it'll go back into the ball shape. So it'll look more like this. And then I stick it in my oven, because you want to stick it in like a warm area. So if your house is normally warm, then you can just leave it on the counter with like a towel across of it. But I stick mine in my oven, and I turn, if your oven has an oven light on it, I turn my oven light on, and that will make the oven a little bit warmer in there. So that's what we're going to do. And then you want to leave the pizza dough in the oven or on the counter, whichever you prefer, for an hour to let it rise. It should double in size. I know some recipes, I'm not for sure if this one, let me just read real quick. Yeah, this recipe that I will type out or link down below, it actually says stay in and let rise for it to double for an hour, and then once it doubles, push it down with your hands, kind of like kneading it down, and shape it back into the ball, which I don't do this. I just let it rise and then fix it on the plate, or not the plate, but the pan, and stick it in the oven after I put all my toppings. But you can cover the dough back up after you've kneaded it for another 20 to 30 minutes to let it rise again. I don't, but you could. So we'll let that stay in the oven for the hour, and then I'll bring you back with the toppings that we're going to place on our pizza. Dough's been in the oven for an hour, so let's pull it out and see what it looks like. So after an hour, it has doubled in size. So like I said earlier, you can go back and start to use your fist and push it back down, and then let it set for another 25 to 30 minutes to rise up again, but I don't do that, so I just dump it out on my cooking sheet that I'm going to use my hands to kind of spread it out evenly. Make it look something somewhat like that. No, it will try and stretch back, but we'll get that fixed when I get everything done. Wipe my hands off. And then I make my own pizza sauce out of the tomatoes that we grow in our garden. I will try and link that video in this one. And then, so I'll open this up. I just dump it, and then I'll use like a spoon to spread it out. Then I just go almost to the edge, not quite. Spread it evenly through the crust. Sausage. Oh, and then the other thing we're going to put on ours is pepperoni. So it's more going to be like a meat lover style. So we have sausage that we grew and got processed from our pigs. And everybody here in the house likes sausage, so this will be spread evenly on the pizza. For the girls, they would only eat pepperoni and cheese, but they like the sausage now. And pulling the crust back to the edges. Alright, so then got those, and then Tony and I, these are green peppers that we've diced up and frozen. So Tony and I will have this on our side. Sprinkle those on about 3/4 of the pizza. Girls don't eat that much. That looks about good. Alright. And then I'll get my cheese. Oh, I also cooked up bacon from some of the pork, so everybody would also like that too. So I'll sprinkle the bacon up.
Everything's better with bacon. The bacon and the sausage are from our Idaho pasture pigs that we raised this year. So if you're wondering what the Idaho pasture pigs are, we have videos. There's a playlist on those. We'll link that in this video.
And as what Tony calls all the pigs when we get them when they're babies, are bacon seeds. He makes the girls laugh every time he says that. So now we'll put some mozzarella cheese on top, and then I'll put the pepperoni. And then this will go in the oven at 400. So Tony's gonna try and preheat it for me. And then I usually keep it in there for maybe like 12 to 14 minutes, test it out to see if it needs to go a little bit longer. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on how thin you get that crust. So the thinner ones won't take as long, and if it's a little thicker, then it will take a little longer. So now just add the pepperoni, and then we should be able to put it in the oven. Everybody likes pepperoni, so the whole pizza will get pepperoni on it. The girls are slowly trying to try new things.
Alright, we'll get the pepperonis on there and we'll get it in the oven and we'll show you what the finished result looks like.
Alright, so the timer has gone off and I had to add 2 more minutes to it because the cheese wasn't melted all the way, so pull it out. Bring you over here and you can see it. It looks a lot better as far as the cheese wise. The cheese wasn't all the way melted, like I said, so now we'll just serve this up on our plates and have a little bit of dinner and then go out to the barn and do our nightly chores. So hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on social media with all your friends and family, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day.